I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna take that pain and lay it down, 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 down. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna take that pain and lay it down, 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 down. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go. I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna carry that load. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna take that pain and lay it down, 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 down. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna let go. Gonna let go. I'm gonna let go. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna take that pain and lay it down, 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 down. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go. I ain't gonna carry that load no more. I ain't gonna carry that load.
Welcome to Unity Comox Valley, a positive path for spiritual living. Thank you for joining us today and being part of this spiritual community. Today we have a special guest made possible by technology, by the wonders of technology, and that is Pat Clarkson. Pat Clarkson moved to the Valley a number of years ago and just jumped right into Unity Comox Valley. We enjoyed her presence with us every single Sunday at our weekly classes. She became our board chair, and in the last year that she was here, the last 2 years that she was here, she entered the ministerial program and graduated in 2019. After that, she moved to Victoria and was their spiritual leader there, Unity of Victoria, for about a year. And then the prairies called her home. Her home is Saskatoon, and so she did return there, and she is close to her family and friends and really thriving and shining her light in that area. I know you will enjoy her message and her beautiful energy.
So much more than you do, find a way. Hello, everyone. It is a pleasure to be back with Unity Comox Valley. If I close my eyes, I can see each one of you. I can see you sitting in your usual spot and wondering who's sitting in mine. I want to thank Reverend Vicky for this opportunity. Thank you very much. We've been living in a time these last few months where the framework, the structure of how we lived our lives has disappeared. Any thoughts of how we thought life should be no longer exist. In fact, it's like playing a new game of something and we don't know the rules. We don't even know if there are rules yet. And I was reflecting back to how did I handle the initial period of my self-isolation. And sad to say, I really came from my humanness. At first, I was really ticked off my gym was closed. You might all be surprised to know that I've gotten hooked on the gym. I go 3 times a week. I have a personal trainer, really feeling good. And I was ticked when it was closed. Like my mind understood it, but I was ticked that it was closed. So what I did was for the first 2 weeks, lay on the couch and binge on TV, like 24 hours a day. I'd sleep when I wanted to sleep, and then I'd turn the TV back on or just leave it on while I slept. And then I went into a period of 2 days of terrible emotional pain, sadness, fear, worry. And I remember about the end of the second day, I thought, I can't live here. I can't live in this mental state. And I decided I had to change. I had to change. And it took me back to principle 3. You know, we create our world by what we think and how we feel and what we believe. And I knew I didn't have to stay there, that I could change my thinking. And so I decided I was not going to live from the cup half empty anymore. I was going to live from the cup half full to overflowing. Now, and for me, that was moving from my human nature, because that's what I'd been doing. I'd been reacting and buying into everything external. And I was going to go into my inner being and live from my spiritual nature. Now, I have heard that living from faith is like looking through a crystal clear window. The sun is shining and everything has clarity. And when we slip back into our human nature, it's like we've plugged in a kettle under that window and all the steam has just fogged up the window. And when we're living from our human nature, we're kind of peering out through that steam saying, well, I think that's what's there. Yeah, maybe not. Oh, but it must be. So I'm going to react to what I think is there. Now we can keep trying to figure out what's there and live from that place, or we can grab a cloth and wipe off the steam. But first, we have to become consciously aware that there's steam on our window. Like if you'd asked me in the first 2 weeks, I'd have said, well, I'm not doing bad for what's happened. But I have discovered through self-isolation, though, even though I made that decision, many times a day, sometimes I have to make that decision. I become consciously aware. I'm again buying in to that enticing human nature with all the news on TV. So I've now shut it off. And my sister gives me the madcap antics going on with lots of humor about every 3 days. So I don't know about you. Have you had to step back and go from cup half empty to cup half full? Was it only me that has to do it lots every day? What I want to talk about this morning is, what is conscious awareness? Because I could not change till I became consciously aware of where I was. So conscious awareness, the definition is, describes a mental state of being where we're truly aware of the events and situations in our life. A conscious person has awareness of their environment and their own existence and thoughts. So that's consciousness. And then the definition of awareness is the quality or state of being aware, knowledge and understanding that something is happening or exists. I want to share a story from the book, Who Ordered This Truckload of Dung? It's written by a Buddhist monk. The story shares how our initial reaction can be from that side of us that judges ourselves. You know, the side of us that bases our values on what the external world would say. Then something happens, and we become consciously aware, and we see the same situation entirely different. So here we go. And what this is about, it's called Perfection and Guilt is the name of the chapter. But this Buddhist monk, they were building a new monastery, and he was charged with building a brick wall in the new monastery. And oh, he worked so hard. He said, oh, I have all the time in the world. And he just made sure every brick was perfect. He'd move it and nudge it. And then when it was all done, he stood back and realized that 2 of the bricks were uneven. The wall wasn't perfect. He went to the abbot and he said, I'd like to knock down the wall. In fact, I'd like to blow it up. And the abbot said, no, the wall stands. Now, people would come to the new monastery for tours, and he would not take them to where the wall was because he didn't want anyone to see this wall because it was not perfect. There were 2 bricks. All he saw were these 2 bricks that were not in alignment. And then what happened was, when I showed our first visitors around our fledgling monastery, I always tried to avoid taking them past my brick wall. I hated anyone seeing it. Then one day, some 3 or 4 months after I finished it, I was walking with the visitor and he saw the wall. That's a nice wall, he casually remarked. Sir, I replied in surprise, have you left your glasses in your car? Are you visibly impaired? Can't you see these 2 bad bricks which spoil the whole wall? What he said next changed my whole view of that wall, of myself, and of many other aspects of life. He said, yes, I can see those 2 bad bricks, but I can see the 998 good bricks as well. I was stunned. For the first time in over 3 months, I could see other bricks in that wall apart from the 2 mistakes. Above, below, to the left, and to the right of the bad bricks were good bricks, perfect bricks. Moreover, the perfect bricks were many, many more than the 2 bad bricks. Before my eyes would focus exclusively on my 2 mistakes, I was blind to anything else. That was why I couldn't bear looking at that wall or having others see it. That's why I wanted to destroy it. Now that I could see the good bricks, the wall didn't look so bad after all. It was, as the visitor had said, a nice brick wall. How many people end a relationship or get divorced because all they can see are their partners are 2 bad bricks? How many of us become depressed or even contemplate suicide because all we can see is the 2 bad bricks? In truth, there are many more good bricks, perfect bricks, above, below, to the left, and to the right of the faults. We've all got our 2 bad bricks, but the perfect bricks in each one of us are much, much more than the mistakes. And why this related to me, the story about conscious awareness, is that often our initial reaction is we don't consciously think. We seem to come from our human side, and we get caught in it, and we're not even aware we're there. And then either a thought comes or something is said, or in this case, the man wanted to see the wall, and we see it differently. We come into conscious awareness because the monk said there's still 2 imperfect bricks, but there's 998 perfect bricks. So when we become consciously aware, we have a choice. We have a choice. So how do we become consciously aware? Well, one of my favorite teachers, Unity teachers, is Reverend Robert Brummett, and he is the author of The Quest for Wholeness, Birthing the Great Reality, and Living Originally, which is one of my favorite books. And in Living Originally, he describes 10 spiritual practices that we can use to transform ourselves. And the very first one is called Radical Self-Awareness. And the last time I spoke at Unity Comox Valley, I mentioned this one. but I just think it's so powerful, so I'm going there again. And I'm going to talk at it from a very high level. But this simple practice can bring you into full awareness of the present moment. This practice takes you out of the future or out of the past, and it brings you right to where you are right now. There was a lady who is terminally ill, and she would live in the future and say what's going to happen, and then she'd live in the past and say, well, why didn't this happen, or why didn't I do this? And she said, I have to say to myself, where are my feet? And again, I've shared this before, but powerful to me. Where are my feet? Because if I look at my feet, then I'm looking at right where I'm standing. And radical self-awareness brings you right to this moment where you are standing. So Robert Brummett describes radical awareness this way. Radical self-awareness means being aware of the primary experiences of seeing, hearing, feeling, thinking, and it means being aware of the meaning I give to these experiences. So what's ever going on inside, I give it meaning. It means being aware of the emotional response that arises from my ascribed meanings, as well as my physical response to what I'm experiencing. The key to this radical self-awareness is to see all of this without judgment or analysis. And this is not as complicated as it sounds. It all happens in an instant. A central part of this practice is to be aware of the sensations in the body as continuously as possible. And these are Brummett's words. Simply infuse your body with awareness. Feel the body from the inside. Feel the body itself. We are not thinking about the body or attempting to visualize it, but simply feeling it directly. What are you feeling when you look at your body? Notice whatever sensations naturally come into your awareness. Feel these sensations without interpretation or reactivity. Now, another important facet of this practice is awareness of mental activity. We simply observe the activity of the mind, rather than assume that what we are thinking is the absolute truth. We are really observers in this exercise. As with the body observation, what we observe, we do so with no reaction, no judgment or interpretation. If you want more about this practice, get the book. It's good. This is just the first of 10 amazing practices. So what I love about Brummett is that he tells you all about the practices, every aspect of it. Then he invites you to experience it. And after experiencing it, you decide if you want to bring it into your spiritual toolbox. So let's pause right now. Let's try it. In a moment, I would like each of you to take a breath and then look inside. Be an observer. In this moment, what is happening? Mentally, what are your thoughts? What are you feeling emotionally? And what's happening to your body? What are the sensations? Remember, there's no judgment. You are just an observer. You're just neutral. You're just seeing this like it's on a movie screen. You are taking a snapshot of what is happening with you in this present moment. I will now be quiet, and I ask you to look within. I ask you to come back now. That was 15 seconds. For those 15 seconds, you were fully in the present moment. Okay, now let's take another few seconds right now to think about what you discovered. Just look at what you discovered. Think about it now, and then I'll ask you to join me again. So let's just check out what you discovered. Please join me again. From this conscious awareness of this moment, of where you are right in this moment, you choose if you want to change what you discovered or stay where you are. The best example I can think to explain this exercise is, I think of a diabetic and they have to test their blood sugar. And having had 2 juvenile diabetics live with me for many years, I know all about this. And what it is they poke their finger, they get the reading. It is the truth. It's just what's happening. There's no judgment. Here are the facts. And then from that blood sugar reading, they decide, do they need to eat? Do they need to go exercise? What's happening? So from that conscious awareness, we knew how to treat these children's diabetes. So we've talked about what is conscious awareness, and conscious is being aware of the events and situations in our life, being aware of what we're doing and where we're at. And awareness is the quality or state of being aware, understanding what is happening or exists. So we talked about conscious awareness, and we shared the story about the monk and the 2 bricks. And then I talked about Robert Brummett's radical self-awareness. And now I want to share what are some of the benefits of being consciously aware? And I'm going to talk from my experience. And the first one for me that's so very important to me, because this is a real core issue for me, is I want to be consciously aware so I can make an informed decision. I want choices. I want to be able to make the choice. I don't want someone else to make it for me. So I like making an informed decision. The word decision is defined as a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. When I am consciously aware, I am making decisions with my eyes wide open. I'm saying I want to be responsible for my thoughts, my words, my actions, and I'm going to accept the consequence of my decisions. When I talked about acting from my human nature, I react. It's just like when I live from my spiritual, that divine inherentness of me, I respond. So that's one of probably the most important benefit I get from conscious awareness. But a close second is that I feel that someone's turned on a light. And that's what happened after I made the decision to live from my cup half full to overflowing. It was like a light switch went on. And then I realized, no, the light switch didn't come on externally. It came on internally. And the revealing word metaphysically defines the inner light within each of us as the illumination of spirit that is resident in the center of every man's being. Remember the steamed window I talked about? If I choose to live from the light, we are wiping the steam off ourselves and allowing our inherent nature, our divine nature, to shine through. In the Gospel, Luke chapter 11, verse 33, Jesus advises, "No one, when he has lit a lamp, puts it in a secret place or under a basket, but on a lampstand, that those who come in may see the light." May see the light. Once we choose to live from our spiritual nature, why would we want to hide that light? I was thinking about that. And then I thought, we can't hide it even if we want to. When that inner light is on, it just radiates. So when I saw that light, where did I see it? And I saw it in the earth, in the birds, in the animals. And I saw the earth healing and blossoming and coming back to wholeness. When I was a kid growing up, I loved the meadowlarks, and they're a beautiful bird, got yellow on their breast, and they have the most beautiful song. And they used to just be on every fence post when we were kids. We'd just walk and see them and hear them. And a few years ago, they have disappeared from where I grew up, and they're not there anymore. And, well, a few weeks ago, I was driving down to my hometown. Mom was sick. We'd pulled her out of the old folks' home, and I was going down to help my sister care for it that time. And I decided to take the back roads, take the gravel roads, cut some time, and I like being out in that flat prairie. And I had the windows down, and I was loving the breeze. I was loving what I was seeing, and I heard it. And I remember I had the radio on, so I turned it off, and I thought, no, I didn't hear it. And I heard it again. and I pulled the car over. And it was a meadowlark. And I thought, yeah, we are healing. The earth is healing. And I was so grateful for that gift of that meadowlark. Yeah. And where else did I see the light? Well, it was interesting because I walk every day. Now that I can't go to the gym, I have found the only hill in Saskatoon, and I go up and down it like 5 times. It's a total of 3 kilometers up and down 5 times. And so I go walking every day, and we really in Saskatoon honored this social distancing. So everybody's out walking because spring finally came, and so it'd be funny. We'd be walking and we'd see one of us, and the other one would go 6 feet out into the road, and the other one's on the sidewalk. But what was different was everybody'd smile at each other and they'd say hello or they'd wave. And I thought, whoa, this is different. Like in a city, that's not as common as living in a small town. In a small town, doesn't matter who you are, if they know you're not, they wave and say hello. So everybody was smiling. And when the bikes could finally get out, the bicyclers could finally get out on the roads in Saskatoon without snow, they had the biggest grins on their face. It was so, I just laughed as I'd walk by them. It's like, whoa, life is here. And then I noticed that we have some seniors in this area that are still in their own home. And they'd be out once the snow was gone, just kind of putzing in the yard. And you'd see people walk by and the senior'd say, hello. And these people would stop. Now they took 6 feet and multiplied it to 12 because nobody got very close to a senior because they didn't want to get them sick. But they would stop and they'd raise their voice and they'd chat with the senior. And you could just see this senior, like I think the loneliness they must feel because they just blossom. So I was seeing the light everywhere and it was shining out at others. The other thing I experienced was laughter. Oh my, and usually about me. Now, Charles Filmer, co-founder of Unity, shares one of the most direct and effective shatterers of fear is laughter. Spiritual laughter can be defined as the outward manifestation of inward joy and delight. In the story of Sarah and Abraham in the Holy Bible, God promised to give them a son. They doubted it. We find out why Abraham thought this was impossible, even if it was God saying it, in Genesis chapter 17, verse 17. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said to himself, can a child be born to a man who is 100 years old? Can Sarah, who is 90 years old, bear a child? But God had a sense of humor, and Sarah became pregnant. We hear Sarah's response to this event in Genesis chapter 21, verse 6. God has given me cause to laugh, and all who hear of it will laugh with me. She gave birth at the age of 90. In fact, Isaac means he laughs in Hebrew. Maybe this story is the basis for the old Yiddish saying, man plans and God laughs. Well, you've probably all heard or read the jokes about, you know you've been in isolation too long when? Well, here's when I knew I had been in isolation too long. So one Monday, I happened to be in my living room and I looked down and, gee, there are some very small black ants marching across my living room rug. And I'm looking at them. And I remember I stopped and I said to the ants, guys, this is my home and you have a home outside. So if you would just move back outside, we could coexist in peace. I didn't think anything of what I was doing. Week went on and all of a sudden I see the ants have decided they like every room in my house. So the landlord's helping me and I went and bought 36 ant traps. Oh, good Lord. They're trying stuff. And then by, I think it was, Wednesday night or whatever, I felt something on my face about 6 a.m. I woke up and I swished it away and I looked, oh my, and there was the ant crawling up my pillow. And I thought, okay, this is enough. So I phoned the landlord and I said, everything we've tried hasn't worked. So they said, okay. So they got hold of me Thursday and said the exterminator is coming Friday. So I found myself Thursday night again in my living room and I looked up, my ants are still so happy in my home. And I put my hands on my hip, and I said, listen here, I spoke to you on Monday, and I told you if you moved back to your home, we could coexist in peace, and you chose not to do that. So the exterminator's coming and you're dying tomorrow. And when I said that, you're dying tomorrow, I thought, who am I talking to? What am I doing? And I started to laugh. I thought, I have been in self-isolation too long. So the ants are gone. We have the odd one show up, but doesn't stay here long. But there I was. So my benefits from living from my spiritual nature and making a conscious decision are, I can make an informed decision. There's light, lots of light. It's like the dandelion that grows through that crack in the cement. To me, that always is a display of divine order taking place in God's light, and it will find anywhere to come through if we just let it. And laughter, lots of laughter. I close my talk by inviting you this week to practice radical self-awareness. Remember, this practice can be done anywhere. You just stop and do it. You're sitting at a light, do it. It can take as little as 10 seconds. Look within, observe without judgment, observe your thoughts, your emotions, and your physical body sensations. Allow yourself to come into that very present moment and with conscious awareness. What a gift it is. And now we'll move into the meditation. As we move into meditation, I invite you to relax. I invite you to release any tension in your body, in your neck, in your shoulders, in your hands. Always remembering that you are fully supported by the chair that you are sitting in. As we take a deep breath in and then exhale, allow the tension to just flow out of you and to dissipate, fade away. So let us take a breath in and exhale. Let us take another breath in and exhale. May these words resonate with your inner being. Breathing out, I relax and release. Breathing in, I open my heart and mind. In trust, I lay down cares and concerns from a moment ago, just breathing them away. In the stillness of the moment, I am peace. With each breath, I draw upon divine peace. I am one with and demonstrate the power of peace. Enfolding all my concerns in a cushion of calm, I think peaceful thoughts and hold peaceful intentions. In the silence, my body, mind, and spirit are centered in divine peace. Spiritual. Spiritual strength is born in me as I acknowledge God is my strength. Anytime I feel weak, unsteady, or fragile, I draw from ever-present reserves of spiritual strength to meet the need of the moment. With God as my source, I give birth to spiritual strength in this moment of silence. God. God is the wisdom within, the whisper of truth whenever I seek a sense of direction. Moment by moment, I feel my way to the next decision and the next action on the strength of intuition and discernment. Confidently, gracefully, I proceed. In the silence, I claim the potential of wisdom now. I open my heart in oneness with all people, centered in one power, the power of God. I hold my heart open to all people. I heal my thoughts of separation in the unifying power of divine love. In the integrity of the truth I know, I insist on harmony in my thoughts and acts. I am one with God and one with all. And so it is. Blessings to Unity Comox Valley.
We are always in the flow of abundant good. So let's take a moment to bless what we have received and what we have given in the past week. So I invite you to take the gifts that you have received and given into your heart right now. And join me in our affirmation. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Say that one more time to yourself. And so it is. There are many ways to stay connected with your spiritual community. We have our weekly newsletter. We have our website, which you are already on, and lots of things there to explore. And you can also email us a thought for the day. This is a beautiful way that we have of hearing each other's voices and still being part of each other's lives. So if you come across something inspirational or interesting or thought-provoking, please email it to info@unitycomoxvalley.com.